Well, here we go. This is the preview episode for the Wild and Crazy Guys Saturday Night Live podcast
The
video
working
cast.
title. The
It is a
working title.
working title. And I don't want you all to expect that there's going to be any type of opening video package or music because we don't know how to do that. This is
Nope.
what you're getting.
Setting up this Google Meet.
That's Joe Wayman there.
Setting up this meeting took a good 5 minutes, so I don't think we can add any video montages.
We had a lot of trouble setting up this meeting, but here we are, and we're going to talk about our preview ideas for season 46 of Saturday Night Live, which debuts in roughly 8 hours, 7 hours and 45 minutes. And with all these things going on in the world, there's endless possibility for what may happen this season on Saturday Night Live.
But yeah, it's been the last couple of weeks. I think it's last night I was telling my wife in 2 weeks since Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed, and that feels like 5 years ago. So the next month before the election, could really take another several years.
I'm very excited to have them back in Studio 8H. I'm very excited to have them back in New York, not live from home. Although if I can say, just working backwards a little bit, there were some real great sketches from those at-home Saturday Night Lives. When they brought up What Up With That, I jumped off my couch. It's one of my favorite all-time sketches.
It speaks to the talent of the cast. It speaks to the machine that is the show. But you're right. I mean, Studio 8H is one of the cast members, and them not being there was tough. But they made the most of it, did well with it. But I think this show needs a live audience for a lot of reasons, as I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
Now, before we get started, we want to remind you to make sure to visit our sponsors, Dollar Shave Club. Make sure you head on over to Dollar Shave Club, get yourself some razors. Use the discount code NORM for our old pal Norm MacDonald.
Yeah, we got a possible Norm Macdonald reference today in some of the pre-show notes. So let's dive right in. Cast changes. We lost no cast members from last season, which kind of makes sense. Usually cast members leave to pursue other interests, and right now they ain't much out there for a comedian. So the best case for most people is probably to stick on board and do another season or a half season, and then maybe at some point in time they can get back on the road, do some movies. But no one left the cast this year.
And really the biggest note, I think, currently that I can think of any recent former cast member is, of course, Leslie Jones hosting the new version of Supermarket Sweep.
Mm-hmm. That was a big moment for you.
Oh, I love Supermarket Sweep.
You do. So we have a couple of new faces this year. First off, we got Punky Johnson. Punky Johnson is her name. I don't get an age on her, but she is a long-time stand-up comedian. She's done a lot of shorts for Funny or Die, things like that. Her most recent sort of stay is at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, California, which, do you know who the manager of the Comedy Store is?
Might that be your friend and mine, Mr. Adam Egget?
Adam Egget, the trusty sidekick of the aforementioned Norm Macdonald. So Punky Johnson coming from the Comedy Store. She's a female. She's African-American. So obviously this cast, they've taken some heat in the past, not having much diversity. So this adds another person of color to the mix. And that should allow them to do some different things, especially in light of what happened this summer and some other factors. So that should be a pickup that will give them some options.
And just a spoiler for the three of you watching at home, if we should talk about awards from last season at any point, which I believe is at the agenda at some point, I will also be talking about some of the newer cast members from last year, because they really some nice additions last year.
Yeah. Next up, we got Lauren Holt. She's from the Upright Citizens Brigade, and I believe Los Angeles as well. She's in her late 20s. So she comes from a pretty strong history with Upright Citizens Brigade. And lastly, we got Andrew Dismukis. I'm sure Daryl Hammond will correct me tonight.
Andrew Dismukis.
There it is. He's from Austin, Texas. And as you mentioned to me the other day, he looks like he'll be playing the kid a lot in a lot of sketches. So maybe Kyle Mooney can graduate and become more of an adolescent teenager in sketches. And Andrew Dismukis could be the kid. He's been a writer since 2017. Auditioned to be a cast member then, but got picked up as a writer. and now he'll be a full-time, or what they call a repertory player is the official title for a new cast member.
And it turns out, apparently, I think it's usually 1 year. You stay, 1 to 2 years you stay as a repertory player, and either you make it onto the main cast or your time is up.
Well, that's, I guess, a minor change too to mention here is Ego Nwodim is moving from repertory cast to featured player, or is that right? Featured player, as they call them, featured players. So this is her 3rd year. So yeah, she did her 2 years internship, whatever you want to call it, and now she'll be part of the full cast. And she made some awesome strides last year. So well deserved for her.
She would win my vote for most improved.
For me last year, yeah, I agree.
She really did a nice job. Rookie of the year for me last year would have to be Bowen Yang, though. I think he really did a great job.
I think Chloe Fineman came on strong at the end. He started off probably pretty slow, but I thought she had a good strong finish down the stretch. All right, so as we hit into the obviously election cycle, let's kind of remind some of the recurring people from politics. I'm sure we'll see a lot of them tonight. We got Alec Baldwin still on as President Trump. We'll have Beck Bennett likely staying on as Vice President Pence. That might change to a full-time presidential role at some point in the next few weeks. We'll see. And then Cecily Strong will no doubt again be First Lady Melania Trump. And then new this year, well, not new, I guess, but Maya Rudolph will stay on as Kamala Harris. And then a curveball you mentioned to me last week was Jim Carrey will be Vice President Joe Biden.
Couple things I'd like to mention here. Number one, Maya Rudolph really did a nice job every time she played Kamala Harris. I thought she really she amused me, but it was almost a throwaway of sorts because when she played her, excuse me, we're not going to edit that.
This is live TV. This is live TV here.
And thank you to all of you at home who said God bless you. When she played Kamala Harris, it was almost a throwaway because it was part of the Democratic debates when they had 15 people on stage. But I'm really glad they're bringing her back. I do love Maya Rudolph. Jim Carrey's a talented man. I like Jim Carrey in a lot of ways. I don't understand this move. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened. They had a lot of trouble last season trying to find a permanent Biden. You saw Woody Harrelson in there. You saw Jason Sudeikis in there. Not sure where Jim Carrey came from, but I'm going to give him a fair shot.
What's interesting is, like, if you believe the polls, if you believe that, I mean, Joe Biden is right now positioned a month from today, the election is positioned to win this thing. So, like, would he become, would it be a permanent stay, or do you go to a rotating type thing? I know 4 years ago, Alec Baldwin played Trump thinking it'd be a couple months, make fun of him, and then he'd lose the election and you go on with life. But that's something to look forward is what will happen is this, because Jim Carrey doesn't really seem to have a busy acting career anymore. He maybe scaled back that somewhat, but still, I don't know if I see him being a mainstay for the next 4 years, but who knows?
One of the things that I'm gonna give Jim Carrey credit for here is we all know the story, and there's actually a great documentary. It may not be on Netflix any longer, but how Jim Carrey became Andy Kaufman for the movie Man on the Moon. Really, just kind of, he's very big into becoming the characters he plays, and I do wonder if that plays a large role in this too, as far as playing Joe Biden, because despite everything that's going on with the president right now, we know that Saturday Night Live does tend to have a pretty Democratic slant in a lot of their jokes and a lot of their skits. And so I wonder if this is just a way of trying to make a stronger political statement. I'm not really sure.
And Jim Carrey has made no hiding of his belief about the current president either with his artwork. So that's something to, I don't know if we'll tap into that, but definitely going hard at the president. Elsewhere in the political realm, some possibilities. Obviously, we have the Trump boys played by Mikey Day and Alex Moffat. I wonder if they'll work in Bill Barr somehow into this. Mitch McConnell.
That was, if I remember, that was John Goodman. Is that correct?
It could be, yeah. He's obviously been very, very active in a lot of the stuff. You had Beck Bennett playing not only Vice President Pence, but also Vladimir Putin and Mitch McConnell. So that should factor into a couple other maybe predictions or guests I had for other political stuff. I had Kristen Wiig as a possible Amy Coney Barrett, if it comes to that, becomes a story. And then Scarlett Johansson is possibly playing Ivanka Trump. Scarlett Johansson, of course, has played her in the past, also is the fiance or wife, I'm not sure, of Colin Jost. So that could be a thing.
Not married yet. I think fiance.
Okay. Okay.
And if I could, I just want to throw in, as you bring up Colin Jost, I think, because I know one of the things we're going to talk about is predictions as far as the season goes. I think I'll say it right here today on October 3rd. The most improved piece of this season is going to be being able to have Colin Jost and oh, hey, AJ, how are you? We're gonna have Colin Jost back in the studio for a weekend update. The at-home weekend updates were simply just not as good.
And update was, to me, was the biggest area of struggle with not having live audience. That bit just it needs to have audience participation, and those punchlines, if they land to silence, it just kind of really, there's no point in doing that. So I think that'll be a thing that'll be the piece, to me, is the most necessary for being back in the live audience.
Michael Che really feeds off the live audience. I think he does a great job with them.
Yeah. So a couple of down the road predictions and guesses, maybe. We both kind of compiled some here from possible guests. Just before, I think last night, they announced the next weeks 2 and 3. Of course, Chris Rock will be hosting week 1. But some other guesses possibly. I put down Sacha Baron Cohen. A new Borat movie coming out. It seems like that could be a possibility. You mentioned Taylor Swift as host and guest. So I guess this is a time for a little parlor game here. How many dual threats do you think we'll have this year? 0, 1, or 2, or perhaps even more? Someone who hosts and does music. We usually have 1 or 2 per year. Wonder what you think about that.
I do think I am very comfortable with my pick of Taylor Swift. Her Folklore album has been a huge hit. And when she hosted a few years back, she was actually really funny. She actually did a great job. So I think she'd be a strong one. I'm wondering what is Childish Gambino's real name? He's also an actor.
Donald Glover.
He did a nice job when he was a double threat, so we might see him again. But I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say Taylor Swift is the only host and musical guest of the year.
And she had obviously a big album over the quarantine, was kind of a big hit, and so that would make a lot of sense. And she's done it before. She's partaken, as you said. That seems like an obvious choice. And I think we'll have 1 more of those in the fall. So I'm going to say there'll be 2 of those throughout the course of the whole season.
Demi Lovato might not be a bad pick, actually.
Yeah, she's got some personal demons. I think she's always working out. I put down Tom Hanks at some point will host, I'm guessing, this year. That's not really a bold prediction. He had a movie this summer that came out on Apple Plus after it was supposed to be in the theaters, some about the Greyhounds or World War II maybe. So I'm guessing he'll be hosting at some point in time down the season.
About the Jason Sudeikis show, Ted Lasso on Apple Plus as well. We may see him at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure. He played Biden in the past. He was a Biden in the past. Yeah, so that could be a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing down the road.
Before we get too far, I just want to remind you all to head on over to audible.com and make sure you use the promo code NORM in honor of our good friend Norm MacDonald. Audible.com, where you can listen to all of your audiobook needs.
All right, so we got the upcoming episode. I guess we can do some season-wide predictions. We mentioned some of the possible hosts. This could be first episode or for the opening, the whole season. So one thing I mentioned was I think we'll have Kate McKinnon as Ruth Bader Ginsburg. 2 weeks ago, that seemed obvious. Maybe now that gets pushed to the side with all that's happened. But I think we'll see a ghost of RBG. Oh, we're doing this live, folks.
We're going to see a ghost of RBG. At some point now. That's going to happen.
Yeah, I think so too. At some point, she'll do her dance, do her stuff. Why don't you take over another prediction you had for our opening one or for the whole season?
There were a couple that I thought about. I think that Leslie Jordan has become a humongous hit on the Instagram community. A lot of people follow Leslie Jordan. He's been pretty funny. So I think maybe he himself might make a cameo at some point, or at least there'll be a Leslie Jordan skit of some kind. And the other thing that I threw out there is Kanye, because Kanye is always in the news. He's trying to run for president. I think that could happen. The other prediction I made that I stand behind tonight, and this is in no way a political statement, this is simply something that I think might happen, is you have a cold open with Alec Baldwin as President Trump, convincing the world that he's healthy, he's fine, he's not in any bad shape. But while he's convincing everybody, he's showing, he's sniffing, he's coughing, etc. I think that's a kind of a tailor-made Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah, I do wonder if they'll tie that into the debate somehow, and have him like just be coughing and sweating during the debates and saying, "No, I'm fine," and kind of thing. Obviously, there'll be a debate piece. That's the likeliest cold open, as history will be the judge there for that. I thought too, maybe like leaning into like the conspiracy theories about Biden wearing the earpiece, about Biden taking like performance enhancing drugs beforehand, or Adderall, whatever, to make his debate performance. So, but again, a lot has changed in the last 5 days, so maybe that will fade.
I think, if I recall correctly, when Maya Rudolph would play Kamala Harris in the Democratic debates, she was usually drinking. She was almost always drinking. So I don't know if it's on there too.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the Kanye thing is accurate as well. Was it Chris Redd?
Chris Redd.
I mean, yeah, that seems an obvious choice. You got him in house. Kanye's dipping the toe in the presidential running waters. Like, it just seems like an obvious pick. And if not tonight, at some point for sure. But tonight would be, again, maybe a week ago, more obvious. But maybe now they put it on the back burner a little bit. But I think for some point in time, we'll see that.
One of the things that we'll do on this Wild and Crazy Guys video cast down the road is we'll tell you all about our time at the Saturday Night Live Christmas party a couple years back here at the Museum of Broadcast Communications. And when I had gone there for the opening night, I actually got to walk through with Chris Redd. Nice guy. And he was he was a brand new repertory player at the time. And he's really done a nice job jumping on board on SNL as well. No Keenan. He's no Keenan. Keenan's, Keenan's my guy. But Chris Redd has made some real noise.
Yeah, he really kind of started slow, I thought, but really found his stride a couple years ago. So a couple of predictions possibly for the season. I said I don't think we'll see any more alien abduction sketches. I just get the impression that Kate McKinnon had things not panned out last year with COVID. I thought she was on her way out of the show. Just kind of felt like she was sort of just not too big for it, but like it's
kind of spinning her tires. I think she's done what she can do.
Yeah, and a lot of it is so good, but so repetitious. You mentioned that in the Ellen sketch at some point in time with,
There will be an Ellen
abusing coworkers and that kind of thing. I mean, that just seems inevitable to be happening.
Hey, it's me, I'm
Ellen. What?
Hey, it's me. I'm Ellen.
Ellen. Something you put down was Melania doing a decorating Christmas bit. I mean, I just envision it today. It's like if he loses the election around Christmas time, having an episode where it's just like the White House is in shambles and just like Melania is just like totally going through the motions on decorating so half-heartedly and just saying like, just dropping F-bombs about Christmas decorations. And that's something for sure, I think, on the back burner for the whole till December.
This also came to my mind on my walk today that I forgot to write it down, but another tailor-made sketch would be our friends Bob and Doug, who spent some time on the International Space Station, them coming back from their time on the ISS and being briefed on everything that they missed as far as, COVID or changes. I think that would be a very, it could be a 2 or 3 minute sketch. It might not be a full blown one, but one of those tiny ones that you could get some pretty easy, good laughs out of that.
Yeah, I think at some point in time, we're going to have someone was under a rock for like 6 months or in a coma for 6 months. It could be easy and lazy, but also could be good. But it seems like inevitable, like just to give someone a laundry list of what happened the last 6 months would just be too easy to avoid.
Yeah. What? Let me ask you this: what was your? You already know my answer. But I want to ask you, and I want to ask the folks at home. You can comment on our YouTube page here. You won't, but you can comment here with your answers.
Well, we're allowing comments.
What's that?
We're gonna allow comments.
Yeah, but I have editing power. I'll delete them.
That get ugly quick. We have a pretty polarizing following.
Yeah, people. Yeah, you know what? Just email us or text us with your ideas. We're not allowing comments on YouTube. Forget that. But I do wonder, what was your favorite sketch of last season, and what was your favorite breakout character of last season? Because my answers to both of those, but What are your?
You put me on the spot here with this, and I don't like that. I'd really have to sit back and think about that one. I'm sure if I took some time thinking about it, it would come to me. I definitely know yours, but I offhand I cannot think of it right now.
I know that you and I had a lot of great laughs over the Del Taco sketch.
Yeah.
Oh man, a lot of cash. It really got me. It got me good. And my breakout character, I want to send, if anybody in the world knows Heidi Gardner or sees Heidi Gardner or wants to send this to Heidi Gardner, please tell her that Pretty Mandy needs to show up on a weekly basis. My love of Pretty Mandy is just immeasurable.
Don't overdo it. But I guess this could segue into our last segment, which is award predictions for this season. And we'll start with let's start with our most improved. Who are we pegging as our most improved candidate for this year? I'll let you go first. Put you on the spot here.
Heidi, 100%. She showed me some real fun stuff towards the second half. I think after Christmas, while they were still in the studio, and then while they were at home, Heidi Gardner gets my vote for this season.
I'm gonna go Chloe Fineman. I think that she started to show some good ability with impersonations last year. Started to get some more reps. I think she's tailor made for Kayla McEnany. Just a bubbly blonde. I think that's gonna be her thing. She'll lean into pretty hard these next few weeks. And the reason I didn't pick Heidi Gardner is I have her as my MVP for this season. I think she's gonna take that next level up. I think Cecily, Kate, and Keenan will all be in roles that will be a little bit more off to the side. And I think she's gonna be the one that just kind of goes because you're right. Last year I thought she hit her stride phenomenally. Did some awesome bits. She kind of did everything. She did impersonations. She did sketches in which she was the main actress. Sketches that she was a tertiary player. She was never off last year. I thought she was always good. Didn't always dominate, but she was always just good, whatever her role was. So I'm gonna take her to be my MVP for the season.
I'm sticking with the 20th year in a row MVP of Keenan, who he doesn't steal every sketch. He's not even in as many sketches as he used to be, but the backbone of that cast is Kenan Thompson, and whatever he's asked to do, not only does he do it well, it consistently makes me laugh 100% of the time. And what makes it even better is the only person in the world who finds Kenan Thompson funnier than me is Kenan Thompson. You can tell he's having fun out there. You can tell he's enjoying it. I'm all in on Kenan.
If Kenan wants to be MVP, he's MVP. I think he'll have a more reduced role this year for a lot of reasons. But I think if he wants to be MVP, he's MVP. I just don't know if he wants that anymore. I think he likes just showing up. He likes saying, "Hey, Lauren, what do you want me to do tonight?" And I'll dominate if you want me to dominate. But I think Kenan mostly says, "Look, if you want me to go, I'll go. If not, I'll stay inside."
Now, are there more awards to hand out, or?
Well, I don't want to. Maybe we wait a couple weeks till tap into Rookie of the Year, because I have no clue. I've done no research on these rookies. I've looked at their pictures. I've read their bios maybe, but no clue about what they bring to the table and what they will be. So I don't have any specific other awards to be keying on yet. At least, do you have any?
I would also offer just food for thought. You brought up Cecily and you brought up Kate, and I'm going to add 80 to that list. I think those three awesome comedians have to either have an excellent season this year, or I think their time is probably up with Saturday Night Live. I think they've done the most they can. And Cecily, I could do a whole episode about how Saturday Night Live mishandled Cecily Strong by putting her at the anchor desk. But she's recovered nicely. But I think Cecily, 80, and Kate need to have an excellent season this season, or come May, we're going to be saying goodbye to them.
Well, I think them leaving will be more about them wanting to leave. I think they have a thing of that. And I don't know what I know 80 Bryan's got a little side project on Hulu that she's been doing. Kate McKinnon, both and Cecily have been in some movies. Those three, when they want to go, they can go. And I think with having someone like Heidi Gardner become better, Ego Nodum becoming a more dominant force, I think with Coy Feynman stepping up, like the female bullpen is pretty strong. If those three, I think, can leave knowing that it's in good shape. But I agree. I think those three are the likeliest to leave. I don't think Keenan's ever leaving. I just don't know where the men. There's no standout men beyond Keenan that would leave to like do some great career. So for them, I don't know what would make them leave, but I don't think they're really leaving for greener pastures necessarily.
I've very purposely not mentioned Pete Davidson very much because I don't get it. I know a lot of people love Pete Davidson. He's not my jam, but I don't think that he has much coming after Saturday Night Live either. So I agree with you. I think it's the ladies of the cast that really have a great future ahead of them.
And Pete Davidson's odd because he pops in and out sometimes, and he has some issues with mental health that he goes away for a few weeks and tends to himself. And that's great. I think that he's good when he's there, but he's not a guy who's going to be like a linchpin cast member you can just depend on to be like, to anchor a show. He can pop in, get some good, go 3 for 4 with a couple home runs, but the next 5 games he just may be 0 for 4 with strikeouts. So you can't rely on him to be the anchor.
Well, what we're going to do is each Monday we're going to post a new podcast, video cast, vlog of us reviewing the previous Saturday's Saturday Night Live. Well, we keep it to about 20, 25 minutes. Won't be any longer than that. You can keep this on in the background. But we're looking forward to tonight with Chris Rock. And who's our musical guest tonight?
Meg the Stallion.
Meg the Stallion.
I know she got a pretty big following in some circles. She was big this summer. For last summer was Hot Girl Summer. This summer was the WAP video that we won't talk about.
No,
we won't talk about that one.
No,
but eager to see how they portray that in these times of COVID and social distancing. But we shall see.
Chances are good if you're watching this, you know us. So if you want to reach out to us, you feel free to do so. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you again on Monday with a review of episode 1 of season 46. Joseph, anything last minute from you?
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, every year they say it's Saturday Night Live dead, but the show keeps on ticking, it keeps on trucking, and you can argue if it's not funny anymore, that's fine. But this show is not going anywhere, and I'm looking forward to another good season. Hopefully they don't lean into politics too much. So right now that seems unavoidable.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be a nice little respite from too much politics.
So maybe November, December, things will calm down with that. But I think for right now they'll lean heavily into it. But hopefully once the election's over, we'll see a little more of a stepping away from that.
Now, do you think you'll be up this evening to watch it, or do you think it'll be a Sunday morning watch?
I'm hoping to watch the monologue at least. That's always kind of my goal. But we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
No promises.
One of my favorite things is to watch it Sunday morning with a coffee, a big cup of black coffee. So we'll see. But we're looking forward to meeting again on Monday, and we'll post that on YouTube then. Until then, live, not from Studio 8H, Brennan Green and Joe Wayman. Looking forward to season 46. We'll see you soon.
Maybe we can get like the saxophone piano play out next time. We'll maybe figure out how to be that techie.
We'll get a video of the two of us hugging, like the cast does at the end of the show. Yeah, hey.
Maybe I'll wear some T-shirts with messages on them that mean nothing to anyone but me.
That's a good idea. That's on. Yeah.
And then for the Christmas episode, we can do some fake snow. We can do fake snow in the Christmas episode.
Let's go to New York and we can ice skate at Rockefeller Center.
Now we're talking.
Now we're cooking with gas.
All right.
On Monday, we'll be back.